Hi everyone, and welcome to my May bullet journal spread. This month was inspired by the amazing poppies that we're having. Right now, the Bay Area and California in general is going through a super bloom after all of the rain that we've been having, and I have been so inspired by our state flower, which is the California golden poppy, which you can see there on the side. It has this really beautiful orange color. I know that poppies are normally red, and I think they're normally a bit bigger. These ones are kind of small, and they have this really beautiful kind of golden orange. So I wanted to take inspiration from that, and I used my metallic watercolor paints for that. And I ended up mixing the bronze color with the gold color to get the really beautiful bright orange kind of metallic that you see here. And actually at the end, I was a little worried at the beginning because when I was doing my original swatches, I noticed that they weren't very, like, it kind of ended up always looking more bronze or more gold depending on which one I added. But when I came to the colors that ended up in my bullet journal, they ended up looking really orange, and I loved that because it ended up looking almost the exact same as the Golden State poppies, just with that beautiful metallic sheen. The rest of the spread, I wanted to kind of do something that harkened to the springtime and also kind of this transitional period, because I know that spring is its own season, but sometimes it kind of feels like in California it's not really its own season so much as just like a pre-summer. And so I wanted to kind of think about that sort of transitional season and also think about summertime and summer activities. And I've been really inspired by the cottagecore aesthetic, and I know that Plant-Based Bride also did a cottagecore theme for April. And so for myself, I kind of wanted to incorporate those cottagecore elements without it being strictly cottagecore, and I figured that the poppy was a great way to signal that. And so, as you guys saw, I used a candle lid to draw out my giant circle. And then I'm going in with my Mildliner to do some of the stems and then also the leaf work to give it just a little bit more sense of reality. And it really helped having some of the poppies there as a real life reference to what I wanted. Then on my habit tracker section, I went ahead and did the same header, and then each of the little boxes has their own headers that kind of are mini versions of the main header that you see both on my cover page and for the title of habit tracker. And at the bottom, I wanted to include more poppies to kind of make it feel like every page is just in a field of poppies. And I kind of decided that I didn't want to do any solid black lines. The only time that you see solid black lines are here in the cover spread with the circle, and then one other weekly spread that you'll see at the end. And the rest are the sort of dotted / interrupted lines that I see a lot in the kind of cottagecore and other kind of more hand-drawn aesthetics, and I really enjoyed that. Right now, I'm just filling in my habit tracker days of the week, and I decided that for May, since it's an odd numbered day, instead of it being like 2 lines of 15 for 30 that I did in April, I decided to do the actual calendar for May. And I'm still trying to decide if this setup is my preferred. I really only gave the 2 lines one shot in April, but I think I do prefer having a full calendar representation of the days of the week for my habit tracker. So it's just something that I want to keep in mind moving forward. And then moving on to my calendar spread, and right here you see me kind of count out and realize that one box is, or one column is larger, like wider than the others. So one day of the week for every week in May is just gonna have some extra space in it. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I really just don't mind having mistakes in my bullet journal. They're gonna have mistakes, again, all handcrafted things, all things with love, have little imperfections that make them unique, and my bullet journal is certainly no exception. So here I just went in with that same Tombow brush pen, which is one of my most used. It's a beige brush pen, and I think my most used ones are this beige color and the gray color. The specifics will be in the description below, so you guys, if you're curious. And then again, I wanted to make every page feel like we're kind of in a field of poppies, and so I put in some little poppies at the bottom. And part of the reason why some of them look more open than others is because that's what poppies actually look like if you were to look at a group of them. And I also wanted to include some fun little poppy facts. So the California poppy, also known as the Escolzia californica, sorry for my pronunciation, I never took Latin, is a species of flowering plant that is native to the United States and Mexico. It is an ornamental plant, so it's just kind of meant to look pretty. And it is the official state flower of California since 1903. And so along with being the California state flower, the poppies actually close each night and on cloudy days. So that's also kind of why I wanted to give some of the petals more dimension, because some of them are more closed and some of them are more open. And I guess that also kind of leaves it up to interpretation as to what time of day these boxes are in because sometimes some of them are open and some of them are closed, so you can kind of think of it as like maybe it's early morning and they're starting to open up, or maybe it's more in the evening time and they're closing for the night, or maybe it's just, you know, a cloudy day, because technically we still are in spring and not in summer. Then moving on to my weekly spread, this was one of the 4 different variations that I did for the weekly spread. And it basically, I just wanted it to look like kind of a letter, but also again kind of with that same rustic feel. And so I just did a border. And so you see me put in the space for all of the days of the week, and then going in with my Sigma Pigma Micron, which is again one of my favorite things to say, and outlining them with those similar, not too done in solid lines, kind of more dotted, and then going in at the bottom and including more poppies along the bottom. And that's also partially why the Wednesday box and then the weekend box is so much bigger, is because I knew that the poppies were going to take some place at the bottom, and so I wanted to include extra space in case I needed to write anything, and then it kind of evens out. They kind of get an even amount of spacing, or similar to the spaces that don't have any poppies there. And then moving on to my final spread. By the way, if you guys are curious about my other weekly spreads that I do want to start doing YouTube shorts, but I just have to figure out kind of how to edit those videos, so apologies for that. I'm definitely not a good YouTube editor by any stretch of the imagination, as evident by these videos, and for that I severely apologize. I do feel like I learn every single time, But if you guys do want to see what the weekly spreads look like in a little bit more detail, I am going to try to learn how to do those YouTube shorts so that you guys could follow along if you so wish. But for my last spread, I again wanted to include space for my reflection section. I have been really enjoying having the time and taking that space to really think about my intentions for every single month, and then also kind of looking back at how the month went by and kind of seeing the things that I really wanted to remind myself to appreciate about myself. You know, there are always like ups and downs to anything, and so even months that are like happier or seem to be more on the up, I think it's always good to take the time to remind yourself, like, hey, be proud of yourself for this thing that you accomplished. Or, you know, even if you've had a particularly rough month, the same could be true of like, hey, it was really great that we were able to, you know, weather these things and grow from that, even if it doesn't feel like you're growing from it in the moment. So I've really been enjoying that, and I really encourage you guys to be able to do the same in your bullet journals. Even if you don't have a dedicated space for it, I think it would be really great to include that, you know, even if it's just day to day, to be able to say like, I am happy at with these accomplishments and I am proud of myself. Or, you know, thinking back, I do want to dedicate more time to whatever things. I know our lives tend to get busy very quickly, and so I think it's really important to just take that time to be with yourself and figure out what it is that is working for you and where you want to spend more time and attention on. And so here I again put poppies along the bottom and just filled that in. I really just love the way that the colors all came together, these kind of soft, warm tones, and really using black minimally really helps. And so I think during the week I'm also going to use a brown pen while I write so that nothing looks harsh in it at all. But just like that, here is my finished bullet journal spread. I know that the lighting really doesn't look great here. I'm so sorry about that. As I was doing it, the sun started coming in because I like to do my bullet journals in front of a window, and the lighting in real life looked amazing, and so I was really hoping that it would translate the same on camera, but it's just not quite picking it up. But here you guys can see a better view of what my weekly spreads will look like. And again, I'm gonna try to figure out how to do the YouTube short content so that you guys can, if curious at all, either pick a single spread that you like and just repeat that throughout the week, or incorporate all of the different spreads in your own bullet journals. But with that, I hope you guys get to enjoy some of this warmer weather, go outside, go for a picnic, go for a walk, and I hope you guys see some poppies. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.